Hey guys, this is Vid with some more Manaless Dredge gameplay. Today we're doing the Legacy Challenge, and we are using a budget sideboard, no Force of Wills. Let's get started. This hand is actually quite lackluster. We do have a Street Wraith for a redraw. We don't know what we're up against. It'd help if we knew. I'm thinking we're gonna have a better time if we just mulligan and skip a turn, because this hand really doesn't have a lot. We have a couple dead cards, so we're actually gonna take a mulligan. And here's a much better hand. Can bottom Dread return. We just like to draw some Street Wraiths or Phantasmagorians before. I just hope we're up against a Delver deck. We got a Street Wraith, which is good. Yeah, we did end up taking a mulligan. A lot of people say you never mulligan with this deck, but I think that was one of the rare hands where you need to. Okay, looks like we might be up against the Delver deck, which is really good. And now we discard Grave Troll, and this Street Wraith kind of makes up for the slowdown we had in having to skip our first turn. Kind of catches us back up a turn. I would cycle this on this main into the second main. Make sure we get our prize amalgams. If it happens. Okay, we don't care about the order because there's no nether shadows. Okay, go to our upkeep. We're gonna exile Street Wraith, melee Grave Troll, and Archimeba. So it's really hard to say exactly what this guy is doing. And the question whether we attack or not, it can depend a lot. Because if he has Snapcaster Mage, then we lose 3 bridges. So, since we have no idea what he's actually doing, I think we're just gonna go to our end step and get 3 zombies. Evaluate more than the 3 damage. And then we don't need to discard a Grave Troll, we already have one. We don't need to discard a Reanimation Target because we have one, so I'm going to discard a Cabal Therapy. That way we can check next time, see if our opponent does have a Snapcaster. Looks like our opponent still doesn't do anything. I think they're just trying to hold up lots of interaction. But we'll figure out what's going on. Exile Street Wraith. Bring back that. Hit 3 Creeping Chills. Wow, let's put that Nether Shadow on the bottom. Sure. We have 2 Cabal Therapies. So let's start with this one. We're just going to start naming counter spells. Actually, probably name Snapcaster first. If we do get to name. Our opponent might just be overloaded with counters, and in that case, maybe we can just overrun them with a bunch of zombies. Let's just sack an Archimeba. We could go for a Dredge return. I'm not sure how many counters we should expect. Probably a lot. Oh, he does have the snap. Okay, well that's good to know. I think we might just go for 1 Dread return here. We could even go for 2, to be honest. He probably doesn't have 2 Force of Wills and 2 blue cards left in his hand. So we can maybe just go for the win here. I think I am gonna attempt it. Seems pretty unlikely that he has a Spell Pierce, a Snapcaster, 2 Forces, and 2 blue cards in a 3-color deck. I suppose we have a Daze too. Exile the Jace. I think we'll just go for it. I don't see why. If he has another one, then he has another one. But we're still in great shape even if he counters this. Okay, so we're gonna get 7 in hand. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Another shot on the bottom. 6, 7. Oh wait, oh 8, right. 8. We know we have a Dread Return on the bottom. So our opponent probably doesn't have a Force or Daze. Probably has something else in their hand. Let's figure it out and then Dread Return something to lock them out. Sack our Whirlpool right. I don't know why we got this Dread. I don't know if anything made us shuffle. I don't know. I thought this Dread Return was supposed to be on the bottom. Oh, well, we used 2. 3, 4. Unusual. Anyway, so we are playing against a. It looks like some kind of Delver deck. He has Snapcaster, so it's not a standard. Maybe it's some Miracles-ish. Maybe Bant. Very unique for sure. Opponent's probably bringing in Surgicals, maybe Containment Priest because he might have white. It's hard to say though because we didn't see much white. It's just his fetches that were white. He had Flooded Strand. I don't think you typically run Flooded Strand in not white decks. 3-color decks. Doesn't make very much sense. So I think I'm going to hedge against Containment Priest, and I'm just going to bring in a couple of Contagions. And he does have Snapcasters, so we could probably bring in Fairy Macabre. We just don't know enough about what our opponent's doing. I think I'm going to stick with a Contagion just so we have an out to a Containment Priest. And he probably has other stuff for us to hit with it too. Maybe Nobles. But, yeah, we just need to wait and see what our opponent's really doing. So we'll find out this game exactly what we need to do. Another hand with no Dredgers. Not only no Dredgers, but also no Street Wraiths, no Phantasmagorian. Pretty rough hand. We might have to mulligan for the second time. Yeah, I think we have to. This hand just has nothing. This hand is much, much better. We have 2 Street Wraiths and a Dredger. We can even, let's keep this Contagion on top too. So we have that as an option if our opponent is on the Containment Priest plan. And we can even cycle these to find other answers if we need them. Noble. I'd like to kill that, but since we had to mulligan, I think we're just going to have to let it go for now. So we need to get our Stinkweed Imp discarded ASAP. So So opponent probably is on the white plan. Not much other reason for them to have a noble. Stone Forge Mystic. Probably gonna get a GT or a Batter Skull. I actually prefer it when the opponents go for the Batter Skull. Almost always GT is a lot harder to deal with. Okay, let's discard our imp. Now we can be a little more free to use our Contagion. We can even delay this JIT a little bit. Play another noble. Oh, we can kill both his nobles. That's probably gonna be worthwhile. So second main, we're gonna go ahead and do our first cycle. Opponent didn't take any time, so I'm thinking maybe they don't have any surgicals, or they might have thought a little more about using it there. And we're gonna cycle again. Get a thug. No lamps. No Phantasmagorians, we can't discard anything. We'll take this creeping shell, get some life back. And then we're gonna go ahead and fire off this Contagion. We're gonna hit both of the nobles. And we're gonna exile a thug. No, the Amalgam has a little more utility at this point because we have plenty of dredgers. Okay, our opponent does have a Spell Pierce, but at least they don't have it for other stuff. Might even be able to go for a win. Back another Shadow. Bring back an Icarid. We'll a Stinkweed Imp. Got another Icarid. We have no bridges. We do have Dread Returns. No Dread Return target. We're not going to get to discard. Huh. Okay, so I think we just attack with our Icarid here. We're happy to trade. And we're just going to have to try to fight through the GT, which is a pretty hard task, but doable. Okay. Okay, so they did get another land. They do have to crack their fetch if they want to go for the JIT, which means they have to shuffle away whatever they put on top of the Brainstorm. Whether they want to or not is notable. It might be why they took so long to decide. They're just going to play the JIT, or are they just going to play... Yeah, okay. So they're just going to go for that. Yeah, we're just going to try to fight through that. Yeah, we're just going to take whatever hits. No point in blocking it. Make him use a charge to kill it if he wants to. The other thing is this means he can kill his own nobles to keep us from using our bridges. We're just going to exile a Shambling Shell, I think. For this next one. Probably me looking to do a Dread Return win here. That's going to be tough because our opponent could start sniping our creatures. Okay, well he won't be able to kill his own creatures, so maybe we can get some bridges. To get a Cabal Therapy. I think the way we're gonna win this is by getting a Dredge Return down. We could just kill him too. We need to beat this today. So we just need a name. What do we need to name? We can name a counterspell. That would help us force through a Dredge return. We can name removal, or we can name another aggressive tool. I think I'm gonna go for Snapcaster. That seems like the card with the most utility. Yeah. Okay, and he has a sword, so he's probably gonna use that on our Amalgam. So we know his last two. Probably gonna swords that and just attack us. We're not gonna be able to go for the Dredge return next turn, but we might be able to set it up for the turn after that. If our opponent aggressively kills our creatures again, we might be able to mill a bridge. I'm wondering if our opponent just drew their Batter Skull. Containment Priest. Another Mystic. Okay, so they're going to get their Batter Skull. They can even put it into play and then move their jet. Looks like they're not going to do that though. Or they would have moved it pre-combat. Okay, so we definitely need to get a Dredge return going. Our opponent can't do too much to stop us. I'm not sure what they're doing. Oh, okay. Okay, let's exile a Shambling Shell. And we'll exile a Thug. We are getting low on Dredge creatures, but we're about to start being able to discard our hand. If they aggressively kill our creatures again and we mill like Narcomoeba and Bridges, then we can really punish them for trying to do that. I think they might understand that, or they might be trying to figure that out. Okay, so hopefully we can get a good Dredge here. Yeah, get a bridge. Okay. Opponent's at 8. We did mill a Grave Troll, so we have that option. Our opponent, we know what they have. We have a Batter Skull next turn. We have 2 Dredge returns in the graveyard. We already have 2 Narcomoebas in our hand. I forgot to calculate that. I think our best bets to get a Dredge return going is to get this Amalgam out. So I think we're just going to discard our Amalgam. So maybe not next turn, but the turn after that we have an almost guaranteed Dredge return. We'll take a little of a beating, but we could always mill more Creeping Chills. We have 2 more in our deck. We've milled a little over half our deck, so those should be coming. Our opponent might put the Batter Skull down and move it and then attack, or no. Well, they can't quite do that. They're gonna get 2 more charges. It's gonna be a little annoying. We're at the point where they can't kill all of our creatures now. They don't have swords, they have one other card. Put the Batter Skull down. And they have 1 more unknown. Hopefully it's not Graveyard Hate. Or they're just thinking of moving the jet over. I wonder what they're trying to decide so much about. Oh, another mystic. Do they have another equipment to grab? Yeah, they don't. Okay. Well, this is beatable. We just have to really survive one turn. Our opponent's not going to be able to kill everything. And we're going to be able to get some zombies unless they kill their own noble first. If they kill their own noble, then we're going to have enough creatures. Potentially have enough creatures to just try to win. Exile. That's a good point. We don't really want to exile our amalgams. But we do want to get more creatures out. I think I'm just going to exile the other Icarid. Bring this one out. Kind of force our opponent's hand a little bit. I want to get these amalgams out because they're our best chance of getting a reanimation happening next turn. Opponent's thinking about how they want to do this. If we get a dread turn, we almost certainly win. So we have 6 cards in our hand. 7 cards in our hand. We'll have 8. We'll get a bridge now. Unless he kills his own creature, we'll get a zombie. Okay, so he kills his own creature. If we mill an Archamoeba, we can still get some action here. If we did. And we have another Grave Troll. It's a little risky. We could Cabal... No, we can't Cabal Therapy ourselves first. But I think we're going to go for it. We're going to have 2 chances to go for it. We can go for it next turn too. So let's Dread Return the Whirlpool Rider. Well, maybe we can just Dread Return the Flare. If we Dread Return the Flare, it's going to be 4... Yeah, that actually kills them. I'm just going to Dread Return the Flare. This is guaranteed win. No risk at all. This is going to bring back our amalgams. And they're all going to do damage. Although I can actually kill them with the Cabal Therapy. So we win in many ways. Get our Undying trigger, and he dies to that. Round 1 win. Okay. We're just gonna go ahead and discard the Stinkweed Imp. I'm gonna get the maximum amount of dredges. And see what our opponent is doing. Looks like probably a Delver. Yeah. Well, that's a great sign. Probably means we're going to win this game. Okay, so this can go in any order. Let's get our Creeping Chill going. We have a Grave Troll. We have a Reanimation Target, Cabal Therapy, and a Bridge. So we benefit most. If we discard an Icarid, we can't necessarily bring it back right away because we don't have a black creature. But we can discard our prized Amalgam now and potentially bring it back with either an Archamoeba on our next turn or in the future. So I think we're gonna best bet's gonna be to discard the Amalgam there. Game 2 I might have discarded the Stinkweed Imp for resiliency against surgical extraction. I'm just going to be assuming this is Grixis Delver. until I see more. Okay, so enemy has a ponder. He might just cast it now, but good to keep track just in case. Okay. So he could have anything. But it's not super important, the cards he has, because very few of them actually interact with us in a meaningful way. Sure, he can counter our free spells, but that's not really doing much. His best bet's going to be to race us. He's probably going to want more Delvers, True Name Nemesis, Young Pyromancer, Lightning Bolts, things like that. Dredge, another Shadow on the bottom. Okay, we have another Grave Troll, so we're good on Dredgers. Another Shadow is going to come back next turn and exile and bring back our Prizemogam. And we can exile a Thug to our Icarid. So really good stuff going on next turn. If our opponent doesn't kill his own creature, we'll be able to go for a Dredge Return. If we mill one, which we're very likely to. One of the upsides of the new Creeping Chill edition, it makes racing so much easier because our opponent has to put so much more pressure on us. It's like a fog. And a lot of these games functions like one. Yes, to the Nether Shadow. Exile our Thug. Mill our Grave Troll. Got an Amoeba back. No Dread Return still in our top 25. But that'll happen sometimes. We still can make a lot of zombies. So let's start taking apart our opponent's hand. We're not going to bother attacking. We want to keep our bridges. And I think I'm just going to name Lightning Bolt. It's our opponent's best card at racing us. They might just fire one off here. If they do fire it off, I'll probably just name a cantrip. Or creature. They didn't fetch red mana though, so I think if they don't counter this, I'm just going to name Lightning Bolt. I should have sacked this Nether Shadow first. I was thinking I was going to keep it around, but I think I'm actually not. Slight misplay there, hopefully it won't matter. Yeah, we're going to go with Lightning Bolt. Okay, so our opponent's gonna daze. We're gonna go ahead and hit him with another one. Yeah, I should have sacked that Nether Shadow first, but hopefully it doesn't become relevant. And we're gonna name Lightning Bolt. And they have a Young Pyromancer too. We can rip that out of their hand. Is it worth it? Or do we just let them have it and save this stuff for a counterspell when we try to win? Well, I think we can afford to just rip apart their whole hand. Let's just say Young Pyromancer. So now they just have the 2 lands. We don't have to worry about much. And we'll discard a Grave Troll. And I think we can probably win next turn. The chances of us not having any of our 4 Dread returns in our top half of our deck is quite low. 5, 8, 11. So opponent played a fetch, and they're going to play True Name Nemesis, maybe. Dermag. Okay, I think this, we can probably end it here. So let's just exile this Nether Shadow. Dredge, Narcomoeba. Those are Dread returns. Okay, so we're just gonna do this the easy way. We're just gonna return our Flare. Sacking doesn't really matter, but I'll sack the Amalgam so that they come back just in case I'm overlooking something really obvious. Then we're gonna Dread return our Chancellor, and we're gonna sack the Flare so that it comes back with the Undying. Hit him with the Undying, and then we'll hit him with the Chancellor damage. Nice easy way to win without having to do anything fancy. Okay, so opponent is probably Surgical Extractions. Yeah, not much to worry about. We can switch out a Whirlpool Rider for a Ballestered Spy. Kind of amp up our game plan a little bit. And we could go for Fairy Macabres. I think we will. Just have a little play against Surgical and Snapcaster. It's kind of the most relevant cards in this matchup. So the Fairy Macabres will give us a little bit more wiggle room. In this budget version of the sideboard, if we're not bringing in our shoals, we can just pretty much always switch out a Whirlpool Rider for a Spy. As long as we're not playing against Show and Tell or Reanimator. Because in those games, the Whirlpool Rider is a lot more useful than the Spy. Alright, here we go into game 2. We have a pretty solid hand here. We have our Phantasmagorians and a lot of other good stuff going on. 8 grids, 2 dredgers. Opponent chose for us to go first. We just have to kind of skip our turn. Alright, we're gonna probably, since we have 2 separate dredgers, I think we're safe to just Phantasmagorian and discard the hand. These guys usually don't run a lot of hard graveyard hate. It's usually just the Surgicals, and since this is pretty resilient to Surgicals, I think we're actually safe to just discard everything. Usually I like to be a little more conservative in game 2 against graveyard hate, but in this matchup we don't really have to for the most part. If he has 2 Surgicals, it puts us in a very, very tough spot. But we do have 2 Phantasmagorians we can juggle. And as long as we keep 1 in the graveyard, it should keep us from getting 2 shut off. Unless they have a Tormod Script or Nihil Spellbomb. But I'm just going to operate on the premise that they don't have that. If they do have it, and then we can play around it game 3. But I think we benefit more by not playing around it right now. So going to very consciously not play around hard graveyard hate. Okay. Oh, that was dumb of me. I accidentally skipped my turn. That does not feel very good at all. That's tough. Need to be careful about skipping priority. Hope we don't get punished for that. Okay, well, let's go ahead and discard, get some Acrid action going. Well, no, we can't anymore. I'm just gonna dredge this Grave Troll. That's annoying. Need to pay attention to the game a little bit better. Was looking at a message and I just kind of got distracted. Okay, so Nether Shadow has 3 creatures under it. It's gonna come back. We probably can go ahead and discard our hand next turn. Let's just discard the Grave Troll for now. See if he reveals anything worthwhile. Our graveyard is very resilient to multiple surgicals now. So they got a non-land, but they are shuffling a non-spell. It was probably just another land, I imagine. If there's another creature, they probably want to keep it. Okay, so let's get our Dread Return and an Acrid in there. I'm going to try to keep our hand bigger. We can always discard more if we need to. We can exile a Street Wraith to bring back that Acrid. And we can exile a Thug to get our other one back. And we can potentially go for a win. We can mill a return target. I'm thinking our opponent maybe has a surgical because they're taking a lot of time here. Okay, let's activate again. Get our other Acrid in there, make sure it triggers. It is unfortunate we're back an entire turn, but this matchup is so good that hopefully it's not important and we can actually still just pull ahead. It really is a very one-sided matchup. So I'm fortunate if we're going to make huge throws, it's going to be in this matchup where we have a lot more wiggle room. Acrid's on the bottom, make sure they don't interfere with their Nether Shadow. They won't, but it's just a good habit. Looks like he's gonna go to surgical our Acarids and Nether Shadows. Sometimes they just try to exile all your dredgers, sometimes they just try to exile all your stuff that comes back. Both are understandable. After having a Fairy Macabre can be nice to kind of insulate us against that, but that's all fine. If we can get this Nether Shadow back, we can go for Cabal Therapy. And we'll probably name counter spells, I would imagine, is what he's holding right now. Because he's not spending his mana on creatures or cantrips. He's just looking through our deck in hand, I think, and trying to plan what he wants to surgical next, maybe. Okay, bring back our Nether Shadow. So he probably doesn't have 2 surgicals. Otherwise, the Nether Shadow would probably be his next choice. Nether Shadow on the bottom. And we do have a Balustrade Spy. We don't have any bridges. But this Nether Shadow is basically free because we can just discard our stuff back on top of it. And I think we're just going to start hitting his counters. Get a good read of what our opponent actually has to help us plan. There's also a question of if we just name Surgical to see if he has a second one. It's Lightning Bolt is because we named Lightning Bolt last time. Well, I think this time we're just going to name Force. Oh, he does have another Surgical. That's tough. So we have to mill a Narc Amoeba if we want to get our engine going. Another, I think we're just gonna go for counter spells though. Let's maybe even Stifle, because Stifle can hit our Narc Amoebas. Could just go for Force of Wills. We really have to get our Narc Amoebas out. Yeah, I'm gonna go for Stifle. Okay. That's fine. So we're gonna discard again to try to get our Grave Troll so we can get maximum chances to get a Narc Amoeba. Because if we don't have a Narc Amoeba, we don't have a great way of winning. Okay, opponent got another Lightning Bolt, so that's 3, 6, 9 damage. We have a Creeping Chill in hand. We haven't milled any yet. We know our opponent's hand, so we can just freely discard. Discard. Well, discard the Creeping Chill. Keeping the Narc Amoeba just in case we shuffle it back in. Okay, so we're just going to basically mill until we hit one of our 3 Narc Amoebas. Hopefully it brings back some Amalgams. Or we hit some bridges along the way, and hopefully that's enough to kind of win it. There's a bridge. The bridges actually aren't as good as I'd like him to be because he does have 2 Lightning Bolts in his hand. 5, 8. I think we're just dead actually. He can just kill us. We had to hit a Creeping Chill there, or Narc Amoeba. Well, that's okay. We did flub. I think we can do better this time though. We do have our Narc Amoebas. We have our Fairy Macabres. Looks like our opponent's leaning quite heavily on the Surgical plan. Might even want another Fairy Macabre. I don't know what we would cut. Could cut a Cabal Therapy. But Cabal Therapy seems generally better. So we're just going to keep it like this. We do have a couple Fairy Macabres, which can come in handy. And hopefully we won't skip our turn this time. That was quite a flub. I think this is going to have to do. We have Phantasmagorian and we have some action if we don't ever draw a Dredger. So we're going to start by discarding this Nether Shadow. So it's not an amazing plan, but it is a plan. We can discard our Nether Shadow, discard our Amalgam on top of it, and then our Icarid. Depends a bit on what our opponent does. And a bit on how many surgicals they have. We should hit a Dredger within our first 3 draws. That's about how often we're going to hit a Dredger. It's every 3 draws. If we haven't drawn one yet. Cabal Therapy. That's interesting. I wonder what he's going to name. Maybe Bridge? Huh. Well, that's going to set us back another turn. Creeping Chill. Okay. Interesting choice. Cabal Therapy seems like a pretty risky card to play against us. We drew another Narcomoeba, which isn't great. I think we're just going to go for the Amalgam. This is a slow plan, but it is a plan. Our opponent has cards they know they can name now with their Cabal Therapy. Maybe we should discard the Phantasmagorian. If they hit our Narcomoebas, it's gonna hurt. Although that brings back our Nether Shadow. They have to hit a Dread Return or a Bridge, actually. If they do that, that's not the worst thing in the world. If they want to eat up their clock. They have a window where they have to kind of kill us before we can overwhelm them. They should probably keep their Delver on the offensive, so if they do Cabal Therapy us, then we're fine. Unless they somehow know we drew another Narcomoeba. But I would imagine they'd probably name Bridge or Dread Return. Probably Dread Return, or Cabal Therapy even. Young Pyromancer, perhaps. Okay, Garamag, he's just trying to make the clock as fast as he can. And we fortunately did get a Grave Troll here. Our opponent is representing a pretty fast clock. If they have a Surgical... I was trying to decide if I want a Phantasmagorian. Because that at least guarantees that something happens. But that something isn't amazing. I think we just have to discard the Grave Troll, hope he doesn't have a Surgical, or if he does have a Surgical, hope we draw into another Dredger. Next turn we might just have to commit our whole hand. And hopefully our opponent doesn't get a Surgical. Okay, let's get our Grave Troll. Got a Creeping Chill, which is nice. That'll buy us a little bit of time. Okay, now we're probably just going to discard the Phantasmagorian so that we can commit our hand. Because now that we have two Grave Trolls, it makes us super vulnerable to Surgical Extraction. So we just want to get the Phantasmagorian down. That's 8. Okay, we're not dead yet. Next turn we're going to definitely be able to bring back blockers. And I think our opponent's committed to killing us, not to disrupting our graveyard. Okay, so let's control. And we're just going to dump everything. And hope that this is good enough. Icarid's on the bottom, Nether Shadows. They come back. We can't block the Delver unless we hit a Narcomoeba. We might hit a Narcomoeba, we might even hit more Creeping Chills. We might even be able to win, but that much remains to be seen. Our opponent has a Surgical, they're being very careful with it. I think we need to exile. Well, we're only going to get to bring back one Icarid, so I'm just going to exile the other Icarid. Hope we hit something. We did hit an Archamoeba. We hit another bridge. Okay, so step one. Step one, we are going to 3. We could potentially kill our opponent. I'm going to attack with the Icarid first because we're going to Cabal Therapy it. Now we're going to Cabal Therapy away his counter spells. We're going to start with probably Daze. Daze seems like the most useful one. If he has another Lightning Bolt, he might be considering hitting his guy, but I guess not. This is looking pretty good for us. So let's go ahead and go for Daze first. Force of Wills, okay. Let's hit the Force of Wills. I think this is just going to be a win now. Force of Will. Okay. Ooh, that was close. That was much closer than I wanted it to be. So we can do 2 Dread Returns. We're just going to Dread Return a Flare. And then we're going to Dread Return a Grave Troll. And that should just kill our opponent. Keeping our Archamoeba around just in case this doesn't go right for whatever reason, if I throw again. Ooh, that was close. We almost threw that game. But fortunately, it is still a quite nice matchup, and we're able to pull it back. Good game. Alright, here we go into round 3. We will take the draw. Alright, so this hand is pretty terrible, but it does have a Dredger. We have 3 Creeping Chills and an Archamoeba, which is hilarious. But we have a Thug, which is enough, so we'll keep it. Hopefully our opponent isn't playing a super fast deck. And he's playing Elves, which is a super fast deck. Okay. Well. We might not be able to be fast enough. But we do have some nice sideboard cards. Elf, untap creature. Still doesn't have a mana dork. Oh. Yikes. Yeah, this is not amazing. He still doesn't have an actual mana dork though. So that's a good sign. Got a Archamoeba. We also got a Thug. So we don't necessarily need to discard a Thug. I might just discard a Bridge. Yeah, let's discard a Bridge so that we get something back we can block with this Archamoeba. There's also an argument to discard the Icarid, but the Icarid's a lot better when we have an actual Bridge. Okay, so our opponent has as much mana as they want. Do they have card draw? They're gonna get a Scavenging Ooze and exile everything we've ever held dear. Yeah, okay, we can't beat that, unfortunately. Okay, well, fortunately we do have good sideboard cards. We have a bunch of Mindbreak Traps. We have Shoals. I don't know if the Shoals are worth it. No, I think we just go with the Mind Break Traps and Contagions. We can bring in a Spy too, since we don't need blue cards. So we'll cut a Whirlpool Raider for the Spy. We'll cut Creeping Chills, because they're not as useful. When you make 3 more cuts, we'll cut a Shambling Shells, because they're too slow. And we'll cut a Cabal Therapy. Yes, okay. So we have a pretty good package. We are quite likely to get a sideboard card in our opener that can kind of interact with our opponent a bit. And we don't have to interact with them much. Their combo is quite fragile. They might just go on the ley line of the Void plan though. And if that's the case, then we just lose. But if that's sometimes you just have to lose that way when you're playing a deck like this. But losing 1 is not the end of the world, especially in a tournament like this. I believe we can afford to lose 2, but definitely losing 1 is fine. And we've already started off to a pretty good start. Okay, so let's not play first. We have a Contagion, which can potentially slow down our opponent, and we have Dredgers and Street Wraiths. Very good hand, unless our opponent just drops a ley line, which they don't. Opponent's gonna Thought Seize us. They'll probably take the Contagion, so we don't have to worry about cycling the Street Wraiths, I don't think. Interesting that they chose to bring in Thought Seize. But I'm actually okay with this. I'd rather them play a Thought Seize and take our Contagion instead of play like an elf and have us kill it with a Contagion, for example. This way we don't have to exile the card from our hand, so they're kind of helping us in a way. They are slowing us down because we'd rather Contagion on our next turn after we discard. But they're really, it's more of an inconvenience. Okay, and we're going to be able to go pretty crazy here. We're going to be able to cycle. It's a little scary. Thinking if we should cycle these and try to find sideboard cards, but I think we're just going to wait until we're actually about to lose to do that. Untap creature. So he's drawing a bunch of cards. He's getting a lot of mana. Okay, so I think we can go ahead and cycle now. Okay, any order will be fine. It's going to bring back our Narcomoebas. Okay, so let's hold on priority with our Phantasmagorian. We're going to discard Stinkweed Imp, Dread Return, and Nether Shadow. Then we're going to cycle this other Street Wraith. Pull back the Stinkweed Imp, and then we're going to discard it back to our Phantasmagorian. Okay, I think we'd win here. Yes, okay. Yes, it's gonna bring back our thing. So we're gonna have plenty of creatures to Dread Return our Spy and just win. Sweet. Very sweet. Street Wraith. This is a very classic Manaless Dredge win. Get back our Narcomoeba. Okay. And we'll just check their hand just in case. I don't think there's any card they could possibly have, but okay. They're just gonna concede. Okay. Oh. I'm worried they're just gonna multi-ley lines, but there's not much we can do about it. I think I'm happy with the plan we have. And let's just hope they don't have a ley line. That's how I usually lose to elves. We have no sideboard cards, but we have a Dredger and we have Phantasmagorian. So let's keep it. Is he gonna maul? That last hand we had was quite explosive, and I don't imagine our opponent was expecting that. I'm hoping that it was so explosive that they overestimate how fast we can win. And as a result, keep a riskier hand than they need to. Because we can't normally win that quick. If you've been watching our other games. Okay. They also know about the contagion, so I'm going to hold priority between everything they do. And just to make sure we can at least pretend like we have a contagion. Maybe make them play a little more conservatively. It's a tiny edge. Green Suns. That's okay. They're going to be able to exile a huge chunk of our graveyard. But we might be able to set up something pretty good. We don't have a lot of options here but to go in and hope that we get good dredges. Okay. We're gonna exile a Thug. We kind of have to. I don't want to exile our dredgers, but it's our only shot, really. Opponent's gonna be able to exile everything we have. Well, this attack is pretty much free. We might just get buried by this scavenging ooze. Okay. But we'll give it our best. We'll leave ourselves with the most possible outs we can. They can't exile every single card. They can exile every relevant card. They might not realize what all they need to exile though. So maybe we can get them on their lack of knowledge about this deck. We do have this last dredger we can pull in there. Well, can't stop that. Can't stop that. We're just gonna wait till they try to hit our Phantasmagorian and we'll discard our Stinkweed Imp to make sure we have a dredger. Okay, so we have to do this now. So is he just gonna exile in response? I actually kind of hope he does that. He did. That's fine by me, actually. We don't need that Phantasmagorian. So he kind of wasted some mana there. He may have given us a chance by doing that. He really just needed to exile our Icarid and our Stinkweed Imp and our Nether Shadow, and we have nothing. But since he did that, we might be able to finish the game with one of those. Oh. Or he has another guy's Cradle. So if he exiles the Stinkweed Imp, the Nether Shadow, and the Icarid, I'll go ahead and concede. Because we don't have anything else we can do after that. And just gonna exile it. Well, it can't come back anyway, because there's not 3 creatures on top of it. So we actually literally can't do anything. Well, that's the name of the game sometimes. One loss in the bag.